Sun Cheek blinked in surprise as a bright red poster slapped onto her face, fluttering wildly in the wind. She pulled it off and gasped. The royal marriage candidate registration would close at 1 p.m. today. Her heart thudded. Why was this poster chasing her down like fate? Normally, Sun Cheek would never care about such things. But this time was different. Bian had changed everything. He wasn't just anyone. Bian was the man who had taken care of her when a deadly plague struck, even when her own parents turned their backs. He stayed by her side, risking his own life just to keep her warm and fed. His care had lit a fire in her chest that she hadn't known existed. And now, with the deadline creeping closer, Sun Cheek did something she never thought she'd do. She ran. Not just a jog, she sprinted down the cobblestone streets like her heart was pulling her forward. Yet halfway there, she stopped. The clock was ticking fast. Was she already too late? Her breath caught. A cold wave of defeat washed over her. But then she remembered Bian's voice, steady, kind, confident. Even if you run, I'll chase after you till the very end. She clenched her fists and shook off the fear. You are the strongest person in the world, she whispered to herself. Level up. And just like that, a plan began to form. She remembered something, a story from her favorite novel. After all, Sun Cheek wasn't just in her world. Somehow, she had found herself living inside that very novel. In the story, a runaway character had once made it to the palace using a shortcut and a horse-drawn carriage. Could she do the same? Without wasting a second, she turned on her heel and dashed toward the market, searching for any sign of a carriage. Her mind raced along with her feet. This was it. Her moment to rewrite her fate. If Bian was willing to fight for her, then she would do the same. No matter how late, no matter how far. Sun Cheek's eyes scanned the streets until they locked onto it, a large horse-drawn carriage piled with hay, ready to leave. Her heart skipped a beat. That was her ride, but it wasn't going to wait. She ran full speed, her skirt catching the wind, her hair flying behind her. People stopped and stared as she weaved through the crowd like a whirlwind. She ducked under carts, dodged startled merchants, and even leapt over a fruit stand. But the carriage was faster. She looked around desperately. There had to be a shortcut, anything to gain speed. Then she saw it. A long metal platform used for a jumping game at the village fair. Without thinking twice, she climbed it with shaky feet. One deep breath, and she jumped. Time slowed as she flew through the air, arms out, eyes wide, heart pounding. For a second, the world held its breath. Then, thump, she landed right into the pile of hay at the back of the moving carriage. The hay cushioned her fall, but the impact sent dust flying everywhere. The villagers gasped. Did she just fly? Someone shouted. Others clapped in amazement, while some screamed in panic. A kid pointed and yelled, "She's like a superhero." Sun Cheek popped her head out of the hay, coughing and grinning. She did it. She was on board. Minutes passed as the carriage sped toward the castle road. When it finally reached the entrance path, Sun Cheek jumped off, stumbling slightly as she hit the ground. Her legs were sore, her face smudged, but she didn't care. She could see the royal gates ahead, but something was wrong. The guards were moving to close them. No, wait, she screamed, running as fast as her legs could carry her. Just a second. The guards turned, confused. One of them raised his hand to halt the gate. Breathing heavily, Sun Cheek reached the entrance just in time. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. She had made it, barely. But something tugged at her heart. She had to see Bian again. So before doing anything else, she turned and ran back to the small hut where it all began. Sun Cheek pushed open the creaky wooden door of the hut where she had once been so helpless, where Bian had saved her life. The quiet inside felt heavy. She looked around. He wasn't there. Her chest tightened. "Bian," she called, stepping forward. Only silence answered. The fire had burned out, and the room felt colder than she remembered. Just then, the door creaked again. A figure entered, hidden behind a mountain of supplies so tall it blocked their face. Blankets, food sacks, and even cooking pots were stacked high. Sun Cheek's eyes widened. Who? Then the pile shifted slightly, and a familiar voice came through. You're never late when it comes to food, the voice teased. Sun Cheek gasped. Beyond? The bundle dropped to the floor, revealing Beyond's tired but smiling face. He stood tall, proud of his haul. I won't let you starve, not on my watch. But then Sun Cheek noticed something terrifying, blood, just a smear, near the corner of the room. Panic hit her like a wave. She ran straight to Beyond and threw her arms around him. I was scared, she whispered. I thought you were hurt. I thought I'd never see you again. Beyond held her close. You always worry too much. They sat near the fire pit, relighting it as the sun began to dip. Soon, warm light filled the space again. They shared a quiet meal, the kind only two people in love could enjoy. Beyond gently fed her with his hands, watching her face soften with every bite. Sun Cheek smiled. It was one of those rare smiles, full, real, and glowing with happiness. Then, she pulled out the worn poster from earlier, the marriage registration notice. Beyond raised an eyebrow. What's this? Sun Cheek laughed nervously. The reason I ran here like a madwoman. Beyond frowned slightly. They're holding a marriage selection without telling me? She nodded. That's how the royal system works. Beyond scoffed. As if I'd follow what others want. Sun Cheek's smile faded just a little. But what about the girls who applied? If you refuse, he cut her off with a soft laugh. And you? Did you apply too? She hesitated, then nodded. I did. Beyond stared, speechless. Beyond blinked. You applied? Sun Cheek nodded, cheeks flushed. Yes, just before the gate closed. Beyond leaned back, stunned. I can't believe it. You, of all people. Well, I didn't have time to explain, Sun Cheek said, chuckling nervously. But you should have seen me. I was out of breath, the guards were closing the gate, and I had no other choice. Beyond leaned in, curious. What happened? Sun Cheek grinned. I kicked off my shoe. It flew right through the gate, and hit the palace supervisor in the face. Beyond burst out laughing. You didn't. I did. He fell over. All the guards panicked, thinking it was some kind of attack. And there I was, shouting, wait. That was my application. Beyond wiped a tear from his eye, still laughing. You really are something else. But it got worse, Sun Cheek said, eyes wide. When they asked me for the actual form, I couldn't find it. It must have fallen out while I was running. So what did you do? I ripped a piece of my dress, borrowed someone's eyebrow pencil, and wrote my application right there on the fabric, she said proudly. Beyond looked amazed. That's bold. Oh, and I signed it, Sun Cheek added, as the youngest daughter of the Prime Minister. Beyond's jaw dropped. You're the Prime Minister's daughter? Sun Cheek laughed. It was the only way to get them to take me seriously. The guards, the supervisor, everyone was in shock. Beyond stared at her. But I thought you didn't want to marry. Sun Cheek's smile faded slightly. That's because I'm not the main character. I'm just a side character. The real heroine is someone else. You were never supposed to fall for me. Beyond reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. If I'm the male lead, he said gently, then I choose who my heroine is. And I choose you, Sun Cheek. She looked into his eyes, heart racing. For the first time, she felt like maybe, just maybe, she could rewrite her story. Sun Cheek's heart pounded at Beyond's words. I choose you. The phrase echoed in her chest like music. Still, doubt lingered at the edge of her thoughts. But Beyond, she said softly, don't you think it's strange that the royal family suddenly wants you to marry? What if they have some hidden plan? Beyond leaned back, his expression thoughtful. Wouldn't be the first time they tried to use me. Sun Cheek hesitated, then looked him in the eye. If we do get married, I want to be royalty. Officially, not just some shadow in the background. Beyond raised an eyebrow, amused. You're more motivated than I expected. Sun Cheek straightened her back and declared boldly, I'll work hard. I'll study palace etiquette. I'll learn politics. But Beyond suddenly interrupted with a playful grin. I don't think tonight will work. Sun Cheek paused, confused. What won't work? Beyond looked around the messy hut and chuckled. This place, it's too dirty. Not very romantic for a future queen, don't you think? Her eyes widened, cheeks turning crimson. Beyond, she cried, swatting at him. That's not what I meant. He laughed, clearly enjoying her embarrassment. I'm just saying, even queens need proper settings. Flustered but smiling, Sun Cheek grabbed her cloak and stood. Let's go somewhere quieter. They walked together through a field of tall grass, lit by moonlight. The night was cool, and the stars shimmered above them. Sun Cheek's steps became uneven, and she began to limp slightly. Beyond glanced over. Are you walking like that on purpose? What? She said. So I'll carry you? He teased. She huffed. No, I didn't ask you to. But before she could take another step, something startled her, a rustle in the grass. She jumped and ran straight into Beyond's arms. He caught her easily, wrapping his arms around her. Scared again? She looked up, nodded quietly. A little. The wind whispered through the open field as they held each other. Then a horse appeared, and they climbed on together. Sun Cheek wrapped her arms tightly around Beyond's waist. You're getting clingier, he said, teasing. She whispered back, aren't you embarrassed? Beyond smiled. I prefer being honest. The horse galloped gently through the open field, the grass whispering beneath its hooves. Sun Cheek leaned against Beyond's back, the steady rhythm of the ride matching her heartbeat. It felt like a dream, one she never thought she'd be part of. As the wind brushed her cheeks, she closed her eyes for a moment, holding on to the warmth of his hand. This wasn't just a ride through the field. It was a ride toward a future she had once believed impossible. You really aren't embarrassed, are you? She asked, still hugging him from behind. Beyond tilted his head with a smirk. I told you, I don't hide how I feel. Especially not from you. She let out a quiet laugh. I used to think I didn't matter. Just a side character. Someone the story would forget. Beyond pulled the reins gently and slowed the horse to a stop under a tree full of white blossoms. He turned to face her. Stories lie, he said firmly. You were never the background. You were always the reason I kept going. Sun Cheek's eyes welled up, not from sadness, but from something that felt deeper, fuller. I used to think you'd fall for the real heroine, she whispered. Not someone like me. Beyond stepped down and offered her his hand. You think I'd let someone else decide my ending? She took his hand, stepping off the horse, and they stood face to face under the moonlight. The blossoms fell around them like soft snow. You changed the story, he said. You rewrote it by fighting for us, with your messy application, flying shoe, and all. Sun Cheek smiled through tears. You changed me, too. They stood there for a moment, holding each other in silence. Then Beyond leaned down and pressed his forehead to hers. If we're writing our own story, he whispered, let's make it a good one. Sun Cheek nodded. One where we're the leads. Together. And with that, they climbed back onto the horse, riding through the night, two hearts, one story, galloping toward whatever came next.